Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, Jordan Young. It's another Certified Hood Classic. We're halfway through November, fast approaching the end of the year, so it's that time of the year where we start to look back on the year that was and pick out some interesting highlights, and in today's episode, some lowlights. These are some of the sneaker models and some of the sneaker trends that died in 2025. Let's get into it. We're gonna start off with a very firm RIP to Yeezys. Yes, Yeezys officially died in 2025. Now I know some of you guys out there are gonna wanna backdate this death certificate to the end of 2023 or maybe to the end of 2024 when Adidas actually finally sold their very last ever pair of Yeezys. But in 2025, these things have still been conspicuous in that they have been gathering dust in outlets as well as on the shelves of your less preferred department store to shop at. Here in the UK, these things cannot move on the shelves of Sports Direct. And if you don't know the UK, Sports Direct is basically the equivalent of like an outlet store where they sell general sporting goods at knockdown discount prices. To see Yeezys sitting on sale in Sports Direct has been a very undignified death, almost sneaker crucifixion in a sense. Now the writing was sort of on the wall back in 2023 with Yeezy hype and Yeezy sales kind of diminishing, kind of dwindling in 2023. In 2024, they sort of had a moment where people weren't sure whether or not pairs of Yeezys from Adidas might actually be worth holding onto in some kind of desperate reseller pipe dream. But as fate would have it, the desire for this type of footwear completely flew out the window as people's opinions of the shoes and their associations with Ye and his problematic behavior rendered the shoes unpurchasable. And when you look at these models in 2025, it really does just bring up all of those old feelings about how impactful and how influential Ye was back in that 2014, 2015, right through until that 2019 era. He very much had the sneaker game in a figure 4 leg lock. So let's take this moment now to mention the Yeezys for the final time as we announce their absolute sneaker death. Next up, Jordans. I feel like 2025 was the death of Air Jordan retros as a trend. Now, I know people out there are gonna wanna point to the furore around the Travis Scotts that went down with people literally camped out on their computers and phones for days just refreshing a site to wait for it to load up the raffle entry. I mean, people were obviously going bananas for the bloody Travis Scotts, but notwithstanding hyped up Travis Scotts or limited Jordan collabs, or maybe the odd retro here and there, by and large, the trend around Jordans is gone. It's done. It's over. And I don't want anybody out there for a single second to think that I am trying to portray this as anything other than a good thing. This is brilliant. If you were tapped in to the sneaker game before the pandemic, even before the Off-White era, you'll know that Jordans used to be coppable on sale all the time. There was only a select few instances, generally an OG colorway or a very limited run or a rare collaboration. It was only in those instances that J's used to sell out. I, like you, used to wait around for Jordans to go on sale a lot of the time because that was the time to pick them up. And so to once again be returning to a bygone era that a lot of us weren't ever sure was going to come back has been one of the best highlights for a sneakerhead in 2025. The people that are rocking Jordans right now are the same people that were rocking Jordans back in 2017 or 2018. All those peripheral participants that got into J's mainly through The Last Dance, the pandemic, the vintage 80s basketball trends that's been popping off, most of them have now moved on to the other latest trend, whatever that may be, and have now left the Jordans alone, meaning we can once again come up on them. So the Air Jordan trend in 2025, I think we can pretty safely say is once again pretty much the exclusive domain for the true sneakerheads out there, you beauty. The next sneaker trend that died in 2025, the Timberland boots. Now, I know what some of you guys out there are gonna wanna say, bro, Timberlands have never really gone out of fashion, or they've never not been trending in some sense. This is a perennial hood classic, an absolute staple. In 2024, there was a viral trend around Timberlands. You guys will remember, it was about this time last year, maybe even a little bit earlier on in the summertime last year, where this was basically the shoe to have. And it had people that were Timberland rockers on the regular already kind of annoyed, because imagine you've been rocking Timbs on the regular your entire life, and now all of a sudden, all the kids on TikTok are wearing Timbs, and you are now misperceived to be simply participating in the trend that you were hip to already. That would be pretty bloody annoying. Now, obviously, this trend sort of coincided, I want to say, with this baggy denim trend, as well as this cropped jersey trends. It was sort of modeled, I want to say, on a bunch of little yachty outfits. It got co-opted by TikTok and made viral. I feel like this year, the only people that are really rocking Timbs are the people that were into it right from the jump. Next up, the Adidas Samba. I think it's pretty safe to say that the Samba trend has now come and gone, although it still lingers. Don't get me wrong. You're still probably gonna see at least half a dozen on the way to your own letterbox later on today. But I feel like this shoe has certainly run its course. In the same way that Jordans became trendy among your peripheral, temporary fashion participants, the Samba has gone through the same type of treatment. The thing about the Sambas is they have a lot of versatility about them, in that they can be dressed up and dressed down, and they have sort of given rise to a couple of other movements in the fashion / sneaker space, including the more minimalistic sneaker trends that has come about almost in opposition to the chunky dad shoe trend that has been popping off for a number of years now. They've also coincided and helped to promote this other look in fashion called blokecore, which is typified by the Sambas, the jorts or the denim, and the football jersey. They've been co-opted by the ladies as well as the dudes. So this shoe has pretty much single-handedly, I might add, made up for the loss in sales that Yeezy left behind when they parted company in 2023. But I feel like in 2025, the Samba has had a pretty solid generational run now for the better part of 2.5, 3 years. If you see someone wearing Sambas now, it's probably the same pair that they bought a couple of years ago in the throes of the trend. Okay, next up, ASICS. The ASICS trend, I don't feel like it's dead. Like, don't get me wrong. All these shoes that I'm talking about, you're still gonna see them. They ain't gone nowhere. But in terms of trending, like what's hot, what's like the it thing, what's selling out right now, I feel like ASICS in 2025 have had their moments, they've run their course, and they have done so well. Now, I personally like this trend because these shoes, they are comfortable. And for me, they're nostalgic in a weird way, because back in the early 2000s, this was the type of running shoe that you sort of hoped your parents wouldn't buy you because of how goofy they were perceived to be. But now, in the last 3 years especially, they've become an absolute trend. But I feel like in 2025, they're not it anymore. Okay, I'm probably gonna get a little bit of hate for this one, but in the same sense that ASICS as a sneaker trend died in 2025, I feel like the same can be said for New Balance. Now, I know what people out there are gonna wanna say. You see New Balance being worn everywhere, and I'm not diminishing that idea. Of course, New Balance are everywhere, ASICS are everywhere. I'm saying that in terms of the sneakers to buy or the trends to be on top of or up with, New Balance isn't hitting like it used to. In 2025, the New Balance collaborations this year, in my opinion, haven't really been hitting. Some of the GR products hasn't really been hitting. Some of the more pricier models, like the Made in USA stuff or the Made in England stuff, hasn't been hitting. They have had a couple of bangers with some new technology in the form of the 2000s, but it sort of feels like they haven't really had any one big banger this year. Like, my favorite New Balance sneaker of the entire year is this Amazonia shoe from Action Bronson. But apart from this shoe, there isn't a single New Balance shoe that came out this year that I really thought I have to have those. Nike SB Dunks. Yeah, I said it. If you want to know just how much the Nike SB Dunk hype has completely died away, just go on to your local skate shop websites and look at what SB Dunks are currently sitting. I mean, SB Dunk lows have been selling so poorly this year that Nike have basically had to start selling SBs through other sneaker models like the Air Jordan 4 or the Air Max 95. And skaters and SB collectors and just general sneakerheads couldn't be happier at this fall off, because trying to get SB Dunks during the peak of the pandemic or thereafter was like ridiculous. And to see the crazy amounts of money that a lot of pretty generic SBs have been going for because they're collabs is wild. I mean, you've got a lot of very cool SBs sitting at the moment. And this is just one skate shop. You know, other skate shops might have bigger size runs going on, other collabs sitting. I personally am really happy to see the SB Dunk hype finally die. Okay, so that is gonna do it for today's episode. I know I've probably missed a whole bunch. And so if you guys want to see a follow-up to this episode with more sneakers or sneaker trends that died in 2025, tap them out down below. And if there are enough good suggestions, I will piece together a follow-up episode to this one right here. Did you enjoy the episode? Let me know what you thought. Were those takes valid? Were they a little bit off? Always appreciate your engagement on these videos. And listen, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I do really appreciate it. Do want to help to continue to support me on here. Just like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Go and check out my second channel. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care for now. Peace.